Welcome back to Brilliant Fools. My name is Adam Green, and today on this Foundation Friday, we're going to talk about abundance and the fact that we have an abundance. And I want to kind of look at it from a different light than maybe normal. Let's first of all just look at a couple of verses that relate to it that show us that we have abundance in Christ. One is Romans 8:32, he who didn't spare his own son but delivered him up for us all, how would he not also with him freely give us all things? John 10:10, I came that they, let me say that again. I came that they may have life and may have it abundantly. There's a couple of ways that I tend to see abundance taken. One is, especially when we don't experience the abundance that we have, one of the ways that it's taken a lot of times is in the aspect of comparison. Like, yeah, we have an abundance compared to the rest of the world. Like even the homeless in America are, better off than third world countries, most people in third world countries. That's not what it's talking about. I firmly believe that's not what it's talking about. There's way too many different things that could have gone on in the world, and it was a very different time, even during Roman time, when Paul wrote this letter to the Romans. So I don't think it's talking about that. I think it's talking about actual literal abundance. We have an abundance. And another way that I hear it talked about a lot of times is when they hear they may have life and have it abundantly, that, well, yeah, it's talking about spiritual life. They may have a spiritually abundant life. And that's definitely true. That's part of it. But I think it's all of it. I think it's the entire thing, all of abundance, including physical abundance. And I don't think it's that we will have it and we at some point in the future are going to have it. I think it's that we have it now. Like, this is what we have. This is part of what Christ paid for when he died, was all of the lack that we experience in our lives. So why don't we experience that abundance? I think the majority of the time is not because of our physical circumstances, where we are, what we've got, etc. I think most of the time is because we don't really know it, or we don't really believe it. And to illustrate that, let me take you back to the parable of the prodigal son. And really, that's kind of a misnomer, because I don't want to talk about the prodigal son. I want to talk about the other son more than anything. Because when Jesus is talking to them, this is Luke chapter 15, and he's eating, let's just read verse 1. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to him. So he's eating and receiving tax collectors and sinners. And we know that because in verse 2, the Pharisees and the scribes grumbled, saying, this man receives sinners and eats with them. Oh, heaven forbid, right? Wow, how terrible. And then Jesus starts going into parables. He goes into the parable of the lost sheep and the lost coin, and then the parable of the prodigal son. But who is he talking to? Is he talking to the tax collectors and sinners? No, he's addressing the Pharisees and the scribes. And then in verse 25, at the end of this parable, he says his older son was in the field, the father. So the father's prodigal son has gone out, wasted the inheritance that he got early, which was very unusual at the time. And he comes back, and the father's throwing a party for him. His older son was in the field, and as he came, he drew near to the house. He heard music and dancing. And he called one of his servants and asked what these things meant. And he said to him, your brother has come, and your father has killed the fattened calf, because he has received him back safe and sound. But he was angry and refused to go in. His father came out and entreated him. But he answered his father, look, these many years I have served you, and I had never disobeyed your command, yet you never gave me a young goat that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed the fattened calf for him. So what's happening? The other son, the Pharisees and scribes, is upset that the prodigal son is getting all this stuff. When he's like, look, I've been sitting here, I've been working for it, I've worked the system, I've done the things, I've hit X, Y, and Z, I've made sure to perform correctly. Why am I not getting anything, but this guy gets all the stuff? Have you ever felt that way? I know I have. I've felt that way, especially in business when I'm looking around and I'm seeing these other people that are having success or getting businesses launched and off the ground and are doing this and that. And I'm like, and they look like they're working half as hard as I am, if that. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? I'm putting all this work in, all this effort, and I'm not getting what you're getting. But how does the Father respond? He said to his son, Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. And that's the thing. I think the son wasn't looking at it properly. Everything the Father had is his. Everything the Father has is ours. He gives that to us. Raining down, every good and perfect gift is from above, raining down from the Father of lights. We have that inheritance. We have an abundance, but we don't see it and we don't treat it that way. No matter how little we have, it's abundant in the hands of God, and it's useful for him and useful to be turned into more and more and more. It's the parable of the talents. Yeah, somebody got 5, somebody got 2, somebody got 1. But instead of comparing and being scared and, well, I better do everything right, I better protect it, hold on to it and hoard it, changing that mindset, seeing these things as tools to spread the good news of the kingdom, the good news of Christ, and bring others in. That's what it's about, is looking at it the right way. And then we see that we have abundance. And now, as I see that, as I understand it, as I start to believe it, and it sinks down into my heart, the core of who I am, now I can start to live out of it. And I say that because I'm still learning that. I can't say that I'm there. I want to be there. I know it's true, and I'm going to keep understanding it and keep moving that direction. And even if it doesn't seem like it by the way the world defines it, it's true. I have abundance, and you do too. And we have an abundance. And what we have, as we go out and we use it, it can be used for amazing things for the kingdom. And I hope it is. I hope this helps maybe unlock some understanding. Maybe that was there before. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's a reminder. Maybe it's something new. But either way, I hope this helps. And until next time, thanks.